onto your golf carts today because we're tackling legend Tiger Woods' latest legal bumpy ride. So whether you've ever been handed a non-disclosure agreement or suffered the woes of a sudden living situation change, you'll gain an understanding of these celebrity issues that might help you personally avoid your own sand traps. The personal injury law firm of Ashton and Price is recognized as one of Sacramento County's most prominent personal injury law firms. Here to help us navigate Tiger's legal landscape is Craig Fontaine Ashton. Welcome, Craig.
Good morning.
Good.
It's a Puntapalooza.
We couldn't resist it, and I'm glad you said Puntapalooza. You're in it with us, Craig. So we know that you're not connected to the Tiger Woods proceeding, but could you start out by talking about how Tiger's ex-girlfriend found herself puttering around the issue of a non-disclosure agreement?
Yeah, so you remember Elon Norgren was his wife before, and she came after him with a 7-iron. So Eric Herman came after him with a lawsuit.
Okay.
So they met in 2015 where she was the manager of the Woods, which is his bar in Jupiter, Florida, I think. And so ultimately, they started to determine that they want to start a relationship in 2017. So even though he's her boss, he says, I want to date you, I want you to sign a non-disclosure agreement based upon this new relationship. We always advise our clients, look, it's never a good idea to date somebody in the workplace. It's not illegal, but if you're somebody like this, you're leading yourself into problems that basically manifested in this case. So 2017 non-disclosure agreement, October of 2022. He's not good in terms of the romantic ability to end a relationship, Elon Norgren 7-iron example. So he takes Erica Herman to private jet, says, you're going to the Bahamas. Sorry, here's my representative. I'm breaking up with you.
Oh, wow.
So she got upset, said, I'm suing you for $30 million for an oral tenancy, which would extend to 2026 for $30 million.
Okay.
And that's how he ended up in this mess.
Wow. Okay. Well, can you talk about Erica's claims regarding not recalling the NDA and how that differs from being forced to sign one?
Right. So the non-disclosure agreement is going to be enforceable in almost all cases unless there are contractual ways to get out of it. Duress, in other words, a gun to the head saying, hey, you must sign this today or ultimately you can't have this agreement. Or she didn't sign it. And so in this case, she had a hearing where she said, I filed a complaint. I don't want the arbitration clause in the non-disclosure agreement or the fact to keep this private to apply to me because I was under duress when I signed it, and ultimately I don't remember signing it. The judge looked at it, Judge Metzger, and said, look, I don't see that there's any duress, and if you don't remember signing it, which isn't that you say you didn't sign, just you don't remember, it suggests to me that your claims are vague and ambiguous and threadbare. So the judge said, I'm going to enforce a non-disclosure agreement.
Okay. And explain what is the Speak Out Act and how it connects to an NDA with cases of harassment.
So Erica Herman's attorney decided, well, okay, if I can't get this agreement set aside on duress or that she didn't sign it, then what I can argue is ultimately there was sexual harassment, which is the Speak Out Act, which says, look, people like Harvey Weinstein can't go ahead now and settle a case, make somebody sign a non-disclosure agreement so they can continue their predatory behavior. So look, that's against public policy. Joe Biden signed that in December 2022. So ultimately, she tried to use that to say, look, he basically changed the dynamic regarding our relationship because of my gender. In other words, he wanted to date me in a work setting. It made me sign a non-disclosure agreement. Nobody else had to sign it. Therefore, it's sexual discrimination.
Yeah.
And finally, she realized she wasn't going to win. And then that's where the case was dismissed.
Okay, got it. And obviously we're talking about celebrities, but how can the everyday individuals navigate workplace hazards, for example, if they're under an NDA but suffer harassment?
So basically, because the non-disclosure agreement applied, so it's a good idea to have that. Then in this case, she dismissed the whole thing with prejudice, which means she can't bring it back. And ultimately, it's always a good idea, if you can avoid it, don't date somebody that works for you. If there's a different dynamic in regards to the authority that somebody has over you, it's never a good idea to date somebody in the workplace. It's not illegal, but it can lead to things like this.
Right. We want to avoid that. And I understand that Tiger and Erica resided together and that suddenly changed. Can you tell us about the legal issues surrounding her living situation?
Yeah, so basically she said that she had an oral tenancy. Whenever you have agreements for real property that can't be performed in a year over $500, it's got to be in writing. So there's something called the statute of frauds, because back in merry old England, people were paid to lie because there wasn't contracts weren't in writing. So they said, look, no more of this.
Yeah.
We got to have it in writing. Both parties got to sign it. And if it's for real property, like an oral tenancy, it's got to be in writing. It's got to be a written tenancy.
All right. Any other takeaways for our viewers, Craig?
Other than Tiger Woods is now out of the woods, he's feeling better, and she ultimately dismissed with prejudice, so she doesn't get a mulligan. And she was out of bounds.
All the puns in one. Thank you for giving us that, Craig. Appreciate it. I'm going to let our viewers know where they can go for more information. You can find out more by going to AshtonandPrice.com.